10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
That was scary.
I was wondering if it was my heartbeat or not.
Welcome, folks, to the show. I've got Kay and Amy. Let's put on my. You actually have an off the cuff fangirl T-shirt there, Amy?
Running to put on my off the cuff fangirl tee. I hope we're getting royalties for that.
Well, hello, whoever's on. I know I see one person. I don't know. Oh no, Amy's on. I don't know where Kay went. She was here. Haha, no, but I'm joking with Mike about it earlier. I saw that, Amy. I'm thinking, I'm really looking forward to a fan T-shirt. Hey.
I'll stick with my Canucks for now.
Yeah, well, yeah, and congratulations to the Canucks. They won. Oh, it still works, Mike. You're lucky. Still works. Congratulations to the Canucks for moving on, and God help the Edmonton Oilers.
Hey, I won't say anything. There's an Oilers fan in the house I'm in right now. So,
so tonight's show, as you could tell from our introduction there, all about UFOs. Now we've touched on UFOs before, haven't we, Mike?
Yeah, we've kind of grazed the edges a little.
Grazed the edge just a wee bit. Hello, Kay. Cough, cough. But somebody had brought up to me about one particular aspect of UFOs, and that is abductions.
Right.
But I guess before we get into that, we really got to kind of go back to, I guess, the whole basis of UFOs. Sightings have happened all over the place. I mean, I myself have seen something I can't explain twice. All out here in BC, Ontario was nice and clear. BC is really weird, but anyway. But you know, the whole UFO thing, just like, do you know when it started? Do you know when, like, the actual first sighting really was was brought forth.
Did they not have like depictions of UFOs and aliens on like inside Egyptian pyramids?
That is true. They did. They did. They had quite a few actually. And oh, by the way, if anybody wants to go back into the social chat and just tell everybody to get their butts over here, that'd be great. Anyway, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, guys. I mean, but you're right. It is, and it actually goes back all the way into what I found interesting. And you were right because it has been found. I don't know if it was found inside the pyramid so much. But
Maybe not so much the pyramids, but like inside of like in ancient cultures, really, right? Where it's like in their depictions because they didn't have a written language,
yeah,
but they would use pictures to describe things that they saw and everyday life. And there's things that are kind of questionable where it's like it almost looks like a man in a spacesuit or looks like what we would refer to as an alien now, right?
yeah. Well, as Kay said, petroglyphs.
Yes.
You're right, and it even goes back to where they were finding them in. I do believe in the Mayan culture.
Yes,
as
Mayan.
well.
That was the word I was trying to think of. Was Mayan or Aztec?
Aztec,
yeah.
and Mayan.
Yeah.
And it's weird because if you look at how I remember watching shows on that and stuff like that, and how they even constructed some of their cities and some of their stuff that they did can't be figured out from the ground.
Yeah, no. How could they like draw something from on that scale, right? Where you're going to see it from like thousands of feet in the sky, but it depicts something that is like from the future. That to me, I think that's really fascinating too.
And the fact that if you look at like even the pyramids as an example, but even when it came to the Aztec ones and the Mayan ones, the cuts in the stone.
Yeah.
And the lineups through holes and stuff, all the way through multiple layers of these megaton stones.
Yeah.
Just how? Like you get, but I mean that. So yeah, exactly. So it goes back many, many, many years. But I mean, actually, how far back does the first really report of up-to-date man actually seeing UFOs?
I don't know, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
Just happen to have it right over here, actually, right over there.
He's actually, got a cheat sheet. I don't have a cheat sheet in front of me.
That's right. I do have a cheat sheet. So I'll. Who's our third person? Somebody else is watching. Yay! Welcome aboard.
Welcome, third person.
UFO sighting. The first well-known UFO sighting happened as far back as 1947. Okay. Right. So that was the actual first well-known sighting, and I'll even read this to you. It was a businessman named Kenneth Arnold claimed to see a group of nine high-speed objects near Mount Rainier in Washington while flying his small plane. Arnold estimated the speed of the crescent-shaped objects as several thousand miles per hour and said they moved like saucers skipping on water. In the newspaper report that followed, it was mistakenly stated that the objects were saucer-shaped, hence the term flying saucer. You got it. Way back in 1947. And, I've watched, like recently I've watched a few shows. Today I actually watched two on the whole flying saucer issue. And when you get up to the more update stuff, these things, whatever they are moving at such bizarre speeds and such bizarre changes in courses, like not just like a swooping turn or anything like that. It's not like they're no, it's like straight, like it's just like 90-degree turns instantaneously, faster than anything any person could possibly handle. And I'm thinking, how would you begin to say that a human could operate something like that from Earth anyway. I mean, they say they couldn't.
No, not. I mean, in today's day and age, I don't think they have anything that can even do that. But going back to 1947, there is no technology that could do that.
Well, no. Kay just said Orson Welles terrified the people with the radio War of the Worlds. Oh, I remember that, Kay. I remember that. And how they created the opening of the flying saucer, a mason jar being cranked open inside a toilet bowl. That was rather interesting. But, and you're right, terrified people. I'm flabbergasted at the speed of these things. Now, something came to mind today when I was watching one of these programs where we were talking about how fast these things moved. Now, we're assuming that what we have now, what we see as people out in, living today, as what we see or what we believe to be AI, right? Artificial intelligence. What if they had that, or the government had that way long before we ever saw it? Now that would be able to handle those speeds and those turns, but with the craft.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I never actually thought about it like that, but yes.
I mean, it's just, I'm just looking outside the box as to try and explain some of this stuff. Like when you get stuff that hit the ocean, they hit the water at supersonic speeds and just they don't disintegrate like a plane would or anything else. They just right down like that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start seeing this stuff on video, you have to wonder, well, first of all, is the video authentic?
Yeah.
Right. Is it not authentic? And if it is, what is it? Like, what are these things?
Yeah.
Right. So you look at that and, all the way back to 1947 and beyond. And then you started getting like events. Oh, my camera just went, whoops,
No,
weird.
It didn't on my side.
And no, it just went black. It goes dark every once in a while. I don't know why it goes dark, but it decides to go dark. Where was I? Oh yeah. Lost myself. I got lost. I got abducted. My brain got abducted. But if yes, exactly. But if these things, oh God, this is gonna go right down the toilet. I can tell you. Exactly. And, well, like that vortex, except for it's going down. If these things are like these things started, and you started getting like reports of people not only seeing them but seeing them up close, like seeing them actually come down to a point where people have claimed that they were approached while they were in their cars or while they were camping or whatever by these objects that would float in very quickly in all different shapes and sizes and forms, and you have to wonder like how did these things manage to manipulate? I can't walk through most of the forest around here. These things went through it like it was nothing. Didn't make a noise. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the claims are like the crafts didn't make any sound.
Yes, all the time.
Like that's the one where it's like, and that happens on so many occasions where the witnesses were saying didn't make a sound at all, and I'm like, really, nothing, like nothing. I don't know. I
don't know of anything that can do that. Even if you're looking at the most advanced possible hover machinery that we've got out there today, it makes a sound.
Yeah.
But they're saying nothing, absolutely zilch.
Yeah.
And how do you accomplish that? Like, how do you get through the trees without rustling a leaf or anything else? So some people have said, well, it affects the people. It has nothing to do with the environment. It makes all the sound it possibly could. That's why all the animals are like gone.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the people that it's affecting.
That's an interesting concept. I never heard or thought about that before.
Like maybe that little guy sitting up on that little window going, woo, 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 woo. Your mind's going, oh. I mean, Okay, I'm just I know it's funny, but I'm just throwing it out there. But I mean, if they could affect people, right, they would make them not aware of what's going on, or at least not even being able to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just going to throw this out there, Mike. I'm just going to throw this at you. Like, I mean, like a big giant alien in a pie. Here you go. Do they exist, or do you think they exist, or do you think they don't exist? Like, where do you stand on the concept of not only the UFOs, but the grays that have supposedly come out from the craft?
So I always joke that I don't believe in anything until I see it with my own eyes. Do I believe that there's possibility of extraterrestrial life? It's hard to fathom that we are the only planet with life on it. That to me, when I try to take a scientific approach to it, that's where my belief lies. Like the odds are astronomically not in the favor of only us being the only planet, right? So, that being said, the closest planet that could possibly have any kind of life that we know of is going to be thousands of light years away. It would take
4.22
forever to get here.
4.22 light years away, actually.
Oh, is that the closest one? Okay, so
Proxima Centauri B. Yeah.
Okay, so that one is a lot closer, obviously, but still, I mean, it's just like I don't know.
Well, okay, hold on. If you were to go that way, I mean, to get there, like at the speed of light, just under the speed of light, would take you 6,300 years.
My point exactly.
And that's the closest. Exactly. That's the closest one we might be able to survive on. Not saying other things.
Yeah, I mean, as humans, we just assume that everyone only lives, 80, 90 years. Right? Like,
well,
but there's creatures on this earth that live much longer. I mean, trees live longer, way longer. Right?
True.
We don't look at them in that way. Like, they're not intelligent, or some people might think they are, but it is a living organism, and it does live much longer than people do. So, but I think we're just accustomed to a lifespan being that much time. But what's to say an extraterrestrial being can't live for 10,000 years? What we would call a year.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
What if 10,000 of our years is only 1 year in wherever they come from, if they even exist? My belief is pretty low on them, but not zero.
Well, I mean, Hoth. What do you mean Hoth? Are you talking about like the ice planet Hoth?
Well, it is Star Wars Day tomorrow.
Well, that's right. May the 4th. Oh, right. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't what comes after May the 4th?
The Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sixth. Sorry, Revenge of the Sixth. Oh my Lord.
Or if you watch The Mandalorian and he always says, "This is the way," I just say, "This is the May."
Somebody please come and duck this guy. Okay, so you so you believe that there's probably intelligent life out there. There's got to be.
The odds would have to dictate that they are. There is.
Okay. But the chance of them actually getting here. Now, they would have to travel like Star Trek, Warp 9, to make it viable to get here. Not saying that's not possible.
But what if you have these depictions on the Mayans and Aztecs ruins and in like crop circles. Maybe that's a little bit weird, different sort of thing. But my point being is these humans from thousands of years ago are seeing this. What if, and I'm just going to play the devil's advocate in my own brain, what if they've already been here this whole time? See? She knows what goes on in here.
You're connecting telepathically with Kay.
People believe, well, it's not even believe. People know, like science has proven, we only know about 10% of what's under the ocean. So what's to say there's not extraterrestrial beings living under the ocean?
Okay, I'm not saying they. Okay. Okay. That's almost looking alien in itself. We think that. Okay. Do I agree that maybe they're already here? I would have to agree that that's plausibly plausible. If that's the case, though, I mean, you would think by now somebody would have a little more proof of their existence than what exists now. Because right now, there's videos and pictures out your yin yang, which I showed you basically even on the short video clip.
Yeah.
But there's no absolutes.
Yep.
You know, I mean, even the government looked for them for years and took reports on them for years. And if I even look back, what did Project Blue Book run for?
Is it not still going?
No, it's not. 1952 to 1969, but they're thinking of reopening it.
That's what okay.
There is other groups like MUFON and stuff like that that actually do track people's reports and whatnot. And they look after it, the UFO networks and stuff like that out there. But the government took years to look into these reports to try and figure out what was going on. Now you'd think they would have a little more knowledge of them, something a little more physical. I mean, come on, they can scan the bottom reaches of our oceans with sonar. You would think. Now, mind you, I know what's running through your head, Mike. They have shields or whatever, and they make them look like mountains or whatever, right?
They're like the Klingons. They have cloaking devices.
Cloaking devices. Oh God, let's hope they're not like the Klingons, but but no. Okay, Kay goes, remember that? Oh, I'll just load this up. Hang on. Remember that book I loaned you about the ship the Nazis were supposed to have trying to harness 0.0 gravity? Okay.
I've heard rumors about that too. I didn't even read any books, but I've actually watched TV shows where they did talk about it. That the Germans in World War II, I'm not going to use the N word, but the Germans in World War II. What's that?
At the time, that's what they were. But
oh yeah, I know. Yes, but that they were much more technologically advanced because supposedly they had been contacted by extraterrestrial beings to provide them with technology that they wouldn't otherwise have had.
True.
But they really botched it. to put it nicely.
Well, wasn't Oppenheimer actually originally German?
Was he German? I don't know if he was German, but
because the first person that they got the atomic knowledge that I think came from people that left Germany, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that right or not.
And Einstein was in on that as well. And Oppenheimer actually presented Einstein. Well, Einstein kind of watched his findings and was kind of like, "This is not good. What you've created is not good."
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I did never watch Oppenheimer. I'm just running at the most here.
I have. Yeah. But again, like having that technology, anybody having that technology in that era, and it's like a lot of, I mean, I know the first big documented case was, you said 1947, but there's some people that believe that when there's like when the Earth is in periods of war, is when there's like heightened apparent UFO sightings or discussion about it happening, and maybe there's something to do with that too, right? Like maybe if there is aliens here, they're really curious about why we go to war with ourselves.
Could that also be because they're seeing things that normally people just don't see because they're more hyper vigilant?
Maybe that's it too.
Well, one of the biggest incidences to happen, and I think we all know it, was Roswell.
Yes.
Right, Roswell. And I'm just going to read this. The same year that this fellow Arnold saw flying objects, rancher W. Mac Brazel came across a mysterious 200-yard long wreckage near the Army field of Roswell, New Mexico. Local papers reported it with the remains of a flying saucer. The U.S. military issued a statement saying that it was just a weather balloon, though the newspaper photograph suggested otherwise. The flames of conspiracy were further fanned in the 1950s when dummies with latex skin and aluminum bones that looked eerily like aliens fell from the sky across New Mexico and were hurriedly picked up by the military vehicles. For those who believe in the earlier Roswell sightings, this seemed like a government cover-up for the Air Force. These dummy drops were a way to test new ways for pilots to survive falls. I'm sorry, but if you're dummy enough to jump out of your plane with a parachute, you better be able to survive the fall. Roswell was huge. It still is.
It still is. It put Roswell on the map.
It did. And they actually still have get-togethers with people that go out to Roswell and, not far as, Area 51, of course. I mean, you have to wonder really what really did happen out there, and why did the Air Force why did they try to cover it up? I mean, they'll say we didn't cover up anything. Well, didn't you?
What's to cover up when there's nothing to cover
up? Exactly. And it makes you wonder. And then, you go into the whole Project Blue Book, which I'm not going to get into a lot of the stuff with Blue Book, but they looked at 1952, 1969. They compiled reports of more than 12,000 sightings.
That's crazy.
Kay said he was born in 1904 into a wealthy secular Jewish family in New York City. His parents were Americans, of German Jewish descent. I guess she's talking about Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, yes.
But
he wasn't from Germany. He wasn't, anyways.
True. Okay. So, you get all these things come up, and then people are already saying, okay, we got flying saucers. We see them. We see unidentified lights shooting across the sky. We see all that stuff. But then what happened? You have the grays, as they call them in the UFO field, I do believe. Used to be little green men. Now it's the grays.
I don't know where they went from green to gray. I don't know where that came from.
Color to black and white. I don't know.
But they were green before.
Well, maybe everybody just decided to call them little green men, Martians. They were little green. I always thought Martian would be more orange. But anyway, it's maybe they're like Marvin the Martian.
Oh, I could do a good Marvin, by the way. All right. You ready for this? The Iridium Q-36 explosive space modulator. The creature has stolen my space modulator. The Earth? Oh, I'm going to blow it up. It blocks my view of Venus. Delays.
Oh my Lord,
they're probably out there in the living room going, what the hell is he talking about? Thumbs up.
You just gave yourself a thumb up. There you go. Oh my Lord, that's hilarious. Even Kay's laughing at that one. Oh, that is absolutely hilarious. You know, but the Greys did start showing up, and people started seeing these little, and they did. I don't think any of them ever grew over 3.5 feet. I mean, they were all in that. Um, Amy, he's been practicing all day.
No, I have not been practicing. You know what? Truthfully, I've been able to do it for years, and everyone, my friends, my brother once called me and said, "I'm here with all my friends. You got to do your Marvin." I'm like, "Oh God, here we go." So I've been able to do it for a long time.
I do a better Palpatine than I do a Marvin the Martian. Um, so the Greys started showing up. People started seeing these small figures. Some would be, I don't even remember. There might have been reports of even people hitting these things with cars. I mean, but then again, I don't think there was any proof of that to back up. I mean, like me. There was Marvin. But
Sure wasn't Harry and
you know,
Anderson's?
huh?
Sure he wasn't Harry and Anderson's?
That's her.
That's
Oh,
a
Harry and
whole other
Anderson.
show.
Yeah. Kay goes, I can do ET. Oh no, ET, go home. But anyway, but there was a lot of reports of people seeing these things. But what followed that was even bizarre. Like, I mean, it went from we see the UFOs, now we see the little green figures. Now these little green figures are taking us.
Yeah, taking us, and even going one further. Are you ready for this one?
I don't know if I am or not, but I'm waiting for it.
They can now look like us. That's why they took us to begin with.
So you're telling me that they want to look like us?
Yes.
I mean, I was always under the impression that the aliens were the ones who dropped us off in the first place, and we look more like them. We just evolved. Well, they evolved too, but we evolved in a different aspect.
Maybe we are the aliens.
Are you saying that we are invading their territory? Or like a plague on one planet? They have to go, how are we going to deal with this now?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know.
I'm just wondering, like, okay, so these things, okay, so let's just go back. These things pop up and they do abductions. They started to take people. Now, people have claimed they've been abducted and seen their spaceships and felt things and experienced things and have implants. Yet when they go to get those implants out, they ain't there. I mean, the doctor's like, no, it's not a little capsule that tracks your movements. I mean, hell, your phone does that already. I mean, like, I'm just saying, as Kay goes, probing. Yes, we know all about the probing. Well, maybe not as much as some people, but that gives it a whole new meaning to ET go home.
ET probe.
Oh my Lord. That's where you go. That's you know what? You know why? You ever figured out why ET goes, ow? That's because everybody who did it to was going, ow.
See? And why does he like Reese's Pieces? Because they're brown.
Oh my God. We're gonna smack him, Mike. We're gonna smack him.
Why did I go there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. So, but anyway, people they've been abducted, and they truly believe this with all their heart. They truly believe this because there's a lack of memory, right? There's things that are missing that just don't add up. Time frames, and sometimes not just an hour, but days.
It's like Men in Black, with the memory eraser thing.
Could be. Right? I mean,
just
after all,
wouldn't
the Air Force personnel from Project Blue Book look very similar to the Men in Black?
Well, yeah. I mean, there is a lot of people that believe that the Men in Black are legit, that they're real.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Not, I mean, I don't think they're called the Men in Black, but I mean, I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
No,
I
and I
really
don't
would.
think there's any kind of, I mean, I shouldn't say I don't believe there's any kind of technology out there that can do it, but if there is any kind of technology out there that can do it, where it can erase your memory to a predetermined amount of time, say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a week, right? Like, what if there is that technology? I don't think the government's going to admit to having any kind of technology like that,
Oh, if they did, it would be huge,
right?
right? Okay, so let's go back to the abductions.
Right.
So
Yes.
there are 6 very particular abductions. I don't know if you read any of them, Mike.
I only read one because it was local.
Oh, okay. Well, these are not local, so I'll go over mine, and then you can go over yours. Okay.
Okay.
So these are the 6 most well-known abductions, and I'm just going to I'm going to ramble through these as quickly as possible. Okay.
For sure.
The Antonia Villas Boas abduction. One of the earliest studied cases happened in Brazil when a farmer in the 1950s claims a spacecraft emitting a very bright light landed on his family farm. He continued to see the strange object until one night when it took him and left. Some disturbing evidence of alien experimentation. The farmer claimed the alien beings brought him to their ship to impregnate a rather fetching-looking female, and described everything from the ship to his suitor in great detail. When he returned, he claimed the incident produced symptoms such as nausea, loss of appetite, headaches, and even bruising. Investigators have differed on their conclusions, but the differing outcomes only gave it more credibility and notoriety among believers and skeptics alike, especially the believers who are paying for an interstellar hookup of their own.
Interstellar hookup. I love it.
Interstellar hookup, love that. The second one was the Barney and Betty Hill abduction. The most famous and well-documented case goes to this couple of Portsmouth, NH. Where is that?
New Hampshire.
Thank you. They claimed in September 1961 that as they were driving home from Montreal, Canada, a bright light jutted out from the nighttime sky on a dark road. As the light approached them, they could see bipedal humanoid creatures looking out the windows of the spacecraft. The couple had no memory of the next 2 hours, but claimed they were returned to their car, where damages to their clothes and shoes left evidence of their spacey encounter. The incident made the two famous overnight and turned Betty into the nation's first UFO hunter. The state of New Hampshire also recognized the legend with an official historical marker on the 50th anniversary of the abduction. This says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The Betty Anderson Luca abduction, number 3. A woman in Ashburnham, MA. Minneapolis?
Probably Maine.
Maine. Okay. Stepped forward to claim
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. I don't know them all in BC or in the US. Her case was closely examined. Oh, hang on a second. Stepping forward to claim she had been taken up by interstellar beings as well. Her case was closely examined by Mutual UFO Network MUFON founder and investigator Ray Fowler, who had Anderson undergo hypnosis to verify her claims. She gave chilling details about how the beings were able to immobilize her entire family in order to take her and implant a foreign object in her skull. She said they could talk to her, but not with their mouths. The woman even described moments of serene peacefulness and said the aliens told her the experiments they were conducting were to prepare for some kind of planetary revelation. Fowler spent most of a decade examining the case and concluded she was either the most accomplished liar and actress the world had ever seen, or else she had really gone through this ordeal. Pretty interesting. You have to make that vivid of a claim.
Yeah.
The Allagash waterway abduction. Famous case from 1976 involved 4 men who claimed to experience the same abduction, a secret they almost took to their graves. The men were fishing in a canoe in northern Maine when they saw a gleaming UFO with an 80-foot diameter and changing red, yellow, green colors. According to the men, the UFO swooped down, beamed them up with their canoe. Wonder if it was Scotty. And a blinding light. They came to several hours later, not remembering anything after their abduction, but began to have frightening nightmares. They all underwent hypnosis and revealed their kidnappers were not from Earth. All of the men also took a lie detector test about their claims and passed.
Yeah.
Again, really bizarre. This one, I remember this one. This was like, I actually watched the movie. The Travis Walton abduction. The curious case of this northern Arizona logger isn't just one of the most notorious alien abduction tales. It also became one of the most lucrative. Walton and his fellow loggers were driving home late from work one night down a dirt road when they noticed a strange glow just over the horizon of the trees. They approached the source of the light, discovered a large fluorescent object in the shape of a diamond beaming down a column of light. Walton wanted to get a good look at it for himself and stepped into the light, thinking whatever was making it would just fly away. Instead, the light grew stronger, picked up Walton about 3 feet off the ground, and threw him down, knocking him unconscious. His friends sped away in fear for their lives, but decided to go back to get him, only to find an empty clearing with no signs of their friend. Police suspected foul play at first, but 5 days later, Walton turned up at a gas station in another town more than 30 miles away. He remembered the abduction and the interior of the craft before he blacked out and woke up in the gas station. Some claim the story was fake, even suggested Walton was intentionally given a hallucinogen, but the story sparked a wildfire in the media, leading to a best-selling book and movie, Fire in the Sky. Right. Number 6. Now, I'm going to say that I'm going to butcher this because it's a Russian name, not purposely, because I just can't say it. The Kirsan Lilimonzinov abduction, and it's the best I could tell you what it is. It's spelled ILY ILYUMZHINOV. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. One of the strangest alien abduction cases came to light fairly recently and became famous because the person making the claim was a very high-ranking official. The former longtime head of the region of Mika in Russia, noted for his love of chess and efforts to make his region a prime locale for championship tournaments, claimed on a talk show in 2010 that 13 years earlier he had been abducted by space beings. He described the craft as a semi-transparent half tube occupied by human-like creatures in yellow spacesuits. Even stranger, he claims his meeting with the beings weren't for scientific experiments, but more for a meeting of interstellar minds. To boot, he revealed that aliens are responsible for bringing chess to Earth. I think he was just checkmated. The official's words and claims prompted an investigation into his time as the region's president to make sure his decisions as leader weren't affected by this. They just did this little thing then. He said, interactions with the aliens, good luck calling them to testify as character witnesses. And that was really it. That was the 6 most popular stories. Now you said you had one for BC.
I did. I was kind of wanting to focus on anything local, so I was doing some digging, trying to see if there's anything in British Columbia history about anyone being abducted. Now, this case was not necessarily him being abducted, but it still kind of is, if that makes sense. I was trying to remember his name, but maybe by where I know the location, so that might give some clues to someone if they want to look it up. It happened in 1980, and this gentleman was living with his parents, and backstory: he was doing some marijuana, nothing like hardcore, but
Yeah.
But he said that he had a dream where he was contacted by aliens in his sleep, and that they wanted him because they thought that they could offer him a better life, and it was going to be a 42-month, I believe it was 42 months, interstellar journey.
Wow.
Now, he lived in between Duncan and Chemainus on Vancouver Island. He had to drive, and according this was the requirements of the aliens. He had to drive up to Mount Prevost, or Prevost, however you want to say it, Prevost,
Yeah.
and that's where they were going to take him. He left a note for his parents explaining everything, that he was being abducted or taken away by aliens, and he was never seen again.
Granger Taylor.
Granger Taylor, that's it. Yes.
I just got it here. Yeah.
Yes. He was never seen again. However, in 1986, some loggers located his vehicle on the mountain, and it had been destroyed by dynamite.
Holy crap.
Yes.
Well, I mean, so you're saying either he went out with a blast or
Yeah. That's the only one that I could find documented in British Columbia. That was kind of interesting. And there's a lot of, like, when you look it up, you're like, hey, there's a lot of stories on this guy.
he actually wrote the story in November 29th, 1980.
Yeah.
Holy jeez. For those, did you actually, do you want me to recite what he wrote?
Yeah, absolutely.
His letter.
Yeah.
Dear mother and father, I've gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship, as reoccurring dreams assured a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe. Then return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you, as I will no longer will require the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger. Wow. That's interesting. I've never ever heard of this.
Yeah, I hadn't either. As I was reading it today, I was like, okay, wow, this is interesting. Like, and when they located the loggers located his truck, it was a Toyota pickup truck. Yeah, a picture of him there. They did find bone fragments in the wreckage. So
he went out with a blast.
He went out with a blast. Now, no one can explain why he would leave a note like that. Maybe to, make it not look like he was going to commit suicide, but he was.
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe he was having mental issues, possibly. And this is why he did what he did, or he led to where he did. Maybe he believed something and then got to a point and something didn't happen, and he realized maybe, it's hard to say. That's a weird story, though. Tragic ending, but weird story.
Tragic ending. So, but it makes me wonder, is there more mental health issues when it comes to people claiming they're seeing things or hearing things that others don't see? Like, I personally have never seen anything. I'm not saying you have mental health issue because you've seen something twice, but my point being, is there mental health issues involved in a lot of cases?
Well, I don't know if it's. I think that there's probably quite a few cases that do have people that are suffering from. It could be anything. It could be dementia. It could be stuff way back in the time that nobody really knew about.
Exactly.
That people are suffering from. But that can only account for so many. I mean, when you put somebody through hypnosis, they have to believe something so readily.
Oh, for sure.
That you have to wonder, like, if you're going through this and you bring back memory, like, I mean, when I had my experience, and my first experience, I was just young. I was young, so I really didn't understand what was going on. But I know what I saw. At least I think I know what I saw. Right? Like, my head, I remember what I saw. Even today, I remember what I saw.
Yeah.
And do I remember actually moving from the tree I was taking the pee behind when this happened back to the tent? I don't. I actually don't remember that. Does that mean I was abducted? No, it doesn't. Doesn't mean I wasn't. Doesn't mean I was. You know, but you know, I can understand from people that experience this from their point of view. I mean, if you have no other recourse, no other plausible explanation, it's really hard to just accept that you don't know.
Yeah. Well,
You
yeah,
know,
for sure. I mean, maybe when you were taking a pee, the men in black were standing there watching you and confronted you, and they did their thing on you, and then you don't remember that part.
so somebody walk up and go, "Yo, I'm Will Smith."
Why were the men in black there watching you take a pee? I couldn't
I
tell you.
so here's the thing. You know, when I saw mine, literally, it was like, you know, like it was like a big triangle, right? Probably
Yeah,
2 to 3 stories thick. I remember it going over the opening, over my head, probably just above the trees, 100, 200 feet above the trees. Big, huge engines on the back. It covered most of the field. Didn't make a bloody sound. Not one that I remember. Not one. And I remember looking up. I remember seeing it, and then I'm back in the tent. So some people would say, "Oh my God, you were adopted." I would say, "No, I had some weird experience. I just don't remember it." But again, I can go back to saying, like, for some people that really do experience these things, and if it is sleep paralysis, as a lot of people think it might be, um, you know, did that actually cause you? Because a lot of people that experience sleep paralysis, they see a lot of things, but they don't necessarily believe it to be 100% true, although we
yeah,
have run into cases that do.
yeah.
So I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. The other one I saw from North Van, it was just 4 red dots, but that was reported by a lot of people. You know, they said at the airport, no, it wasn't any flights, it wasn't any U.S. air flights or Canadian air flights, or like, what was it, right? And they were doing really weird shit. Like, pardon my language, they were doing really weird loops and stuff. Yeah, it was weird. But I remember seeing that, walking by and just going, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And I just kept walking. I didn't really give it a second thought until later the reports came out, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and like as Kay said, BC seems to be a hot spot for sightings. Like, why,
Well,
right?
I was reading, like, I wanted to find out stats, right? And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the one that kind of stuck with me is, as of 2017, airline pilots, 3 per day, are reporting seeing something on their travels between their, point A, point B.
Yeah.
A lot of the cases are in northern Canada. Shocking, right?
Well, they like us Canadians, eh?
Okay. But cause again, I want to focus, we are in Canada. I was like, okay, I want to find out, like, where's the hot spots, right? And, sometimes it kind of makes sense where they are, because it's like, major metropolitan areas, like Toronto is a big hotspot.
Yeah.
Vancouver is a hotspot. Some lesser known ones are also on, like, the top 5 in Canada. So obviously Toronto and Vancouver were in there, but also Kelowna is a hotspot in all of Canada. Now, again, is that, Kelowna is known as a paranormal hotspot as it is because Ogopogo,
Well,
right?
they're just getting Kay to do their research. That's all.
They're just trying to keep Kay busy.
Sorry.
They're visiting Kay. But also, this wasn't in the top 5, but it was also noteworthy because they said a lot of cases come from it, is Terrace in northern BC.
Really
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's just crazy. Why?
makes you wonder. But I wonder if the ley lines intersect there.
And I've wondered the same thing. Like, I try to put a little bit more faith into that ley lines theory. Recently I've actually been, like, trying to look up where the ley lines are and stuff, and there's nothing really there to point to a certain community per se, but the Kootenays in BC is apparently where ley lines meet. So is
That could mean, yeah.
right? Is that part of it? It's interesting.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I think that, it's interesting that we have hotspots here in Canada like that, and I know that BC has been one for the longest time. Didn't know about Terrace. Or really, I figured the Okanagan might be, but until you said it, I really kind of go, well, I mean, it makes sense. It might be because there's so much going on up there.
Yeah.
But then again, Okanagan is popular for a lot of party animals during the summer. So
Exactly.
what are they really seeing? I mean, that's a drunken haze, by the way. So no, I'm just saying. But I mean, I think that when it comes down to abductions, um, I think that if, and this is just my last 2 cents because we're getting near the end of the show. I think that if Kate goes, excuse me, I'm right here. If if
Okay.
if somebody can be put under the microscope right after an event and they can be put into hypnosis, which is really hard to lie through. I mean, it can be done, but you have to believe so readily with what you experience that's it's going to show up.
Yeah.
I think that lends a little bit of credence to the plausibility that something strange, bizarre happened. Whether it was aliens, I don't know. But who knows, right? I don't know. I don't know why somebody would be taking that or not. And Holly, yes, I know you're trying to type. I'm sorry it doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work for you. But she is trying to type a lot, but she's just going fickety 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 fick. Now,
I just hope she's not being abducted.
yeah, the ink, it's disappearing on a translation there, Holly. It's just off and it's going. But no, I think it. I have a couple sorties, but chat won't. Yeah, I don't know why, Holly. It's just a glitch, probably. You should. If it didn't work for you, you would have to log out and come back in. But that's all right. There'll be another show. And we can always bring this up next time we chat too, because I mean, there is more that you can talk about. But I think as far as abductions, if it can be really documented tight and with some really good reputable people, and it really comes up with a lot of questions like, there's no plausible answer for this, then you have to give it at least some form of plausibility, saying something happened, but what was it? But for a lot, I think I agree with you, Mike. I think mental instabilities or other factors are coming into play.
Yes, that's my belief too. Whether if I'm not going to say not everyone has mental health issues, but there's a lot of factors that come into play. There's weather that comes into play, right? You can have weird light anomalies in the sky.
Yeah.
There's just so many factors. That goes for the pilots too, right? Like, yes, we trust them with our lives to get us from point A to point B, but when they're making reports that they're seeing weird craft outside their window, it's a little bit concerning. But what are they seeing, right? Like, they're also up there a lot that when they don't see anything. So it's,
Sure.
I'm on the fence, right? Like I said, right? I want to see it to believe it, basically. But do I really want to see it? I don't know. I don't want to be standing in the woods and have a gray standing in front of me going, "I told you I was real."
Come over here, Mr. Mike.
I'm going to take you to my spaceship now.
That's right. That's right. Oh my Lord. Well, folks, there you go. I mean, honestly, I don't put a lot of faith in abductions, but I do question that there could be something going on out there that can't be explained. I mean, come on. You can't say aliens can't hide. I mean, if they can't even find a big hairy creature running through the forest, and this is on land, I mean, why can't aliens hide?
But some people think that Bigfoot is an alien.
Oh, by the way, we never did touch on the interdimensional aspect of this. So, do we care? Do we care
part two?
Do we care to move one show part 2 of this coming up in 2 weeks? Tell me, guys, do you all want a part 2 coming up in 2 weeks? I think we should do a part 2 because we got the interdimensional aspect. And there's something that I didn't read for you guys that actually explains that to a point that's going to make you think twice about it. It's really interesting. So, and again, Kay is bringing up shadow people. So maybe we'll have to tie this whole interdimensional aspect to something brand new. Mike, what do you think?
I think we'll have to do a part 2.
Part 2, 2 weeks away, folks. But until then, Amy goes, 2 weeks, please. Well, I'm giving you 2 weeks. Why is that? Oh, that's a smiley face. Okay, good. All right, guys. Well, you know what? For myself, Darryl, thank you guys so much for coming, joining us tonight. And if you get a chance to listen to us, look for us 2 weeks from now, because we're gonna jump into a whole different dimension. So thanks for myself, Darryl, and
Mike and Merritt.
Mike and Merritt, for joining us on Off the Cuff Paranormal. Have an excellent night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night and goodbye.
Good night, everybody.